Welcome to Luxury News Weekly. We have another banger for you today. Why do I call it a banger? Because we have some musical stuff involved in this one, but let's get into it. Today we're talking about how America's most expensive mansion went to zero. We're talking about $500 million, possibly, potentially gone. Also, why Ghana's album artwork is pretty much worthy of belonging in an art gallery. The world's first space hotel. Yes, you heard me. Space hotel coming in 2027. And your NFTs, yeah, you might want to check them out. They're not looking too safe, and we'll tell you why. And last but not least, a vintage collector's dream. Michael Kane's rare memorabilia is going for sale.
Welcome to Luxury News Weekly, your number one source for luxury news. I'm your host, Simba Wakatama.
And I'm your host, Elizabeth Solaru.
Okay, let's start with the first one. This is a tragic story. This is a modern-day Icarus story of a developer who flew too close to the sun and might be out $500 million. So, let me break this down. All right, where do I begin? America's most expensive real estate, okay? Allegedly. I haven't checked the numbers on that particular claim, but I'm pretty sure it is. All right? This was located, I don't even know if mansion does it justice, but an estate located in the west side of Los Angeles, California, in Bel Air, called The One. Was developed by this eccentric developer called Niall Niami. And you might recognize this house because it blew up on YouTube. When producer Michael, his name is Producer Michael, the YouTuber, did a house tour. And the tour was so long, it took 2 videos to cover. And the videos were over half an hour long. So you can imagine how gigantic this space is. But not only is it gigantic, it's futuristic. It even has a nightclub in it, a full nightclub with a separate men's and women's washroom, not a toilet, an entire washroom filled with different urinals and some weird stuff in there, actually, because I believe the men's washroom has a camera in it so the women can see the men in the washroom. It's weird. Anyways, it's got all these kinds of quirks to it, all right? And the long and short of this story, before we break it down even further, this house couldn't sell. This house couldn't sell during the pandemic. It's too expensive, and now it's basically foreclosed. Yeah. The most expensive estate in America is foreclosed. If that isn't telling you the state of the world we live in right now, I don't know what is. Elizabeth, what's your take?
Well. This is what we call a vanity project. What tends to happen is everyone has that project that they think, this will make my name immortal. This will be my legacy project. And I suppose it was the same for film producer turned property developer Niall Niami, because the Bel Air home has been 10 years in the making. His company, Crest Lloyd, paid $28 million for the 8-acre plot in 2012, and it's now valued at $295 million. It was meant to be maybe $500 million value home, but unfortunately it could not shift. Now, for context, the home is twice the size of the White House and 1/8 the size of Buckingham Palace. So in terms of reference, that should be the reference. Again, from what we understand, the estate was meant to sell around 2015. It didn't. And from what we understand now, it's going to go on an online auction. The online auction was slated for the 7th of February and the 10th of February, 7th to the 10th of February, respectively. But now some people are saying it's definitely going to go on auction on the 3rd of March. And what's going to happen is there's no reserve, but there's a guide price. And anyone who is interested, they have to put a deposit down of £250,000 for the 21-bedroom home. So even just to be part of the auction, you've got to pay £250,000. And it's such a shame because from the way you've described the property, it sounds like the kind of property a really, really rich, unmarried rapper or basketball player would buy.
Oh, they cannot afford this. They cannot afford this.
Exactly. But my point is, it's not worth that. Yes, I know that they will have neighbors like Elon Musk and Jay-Z and Beyonce. However, to sink that amount of money into a property like that, I suspect that the people that can afford to buy this will be hedge fund people, maybe people who've made their billions in technology or finance or whatever. They're the kinds of people that might be able to, because the upkeep on this, the property taxes on this, again, all the crazy installations, the maintenance, things are going to be breaking down every day. So I can't even imagine who on earth is going to buy this. So yeah, that's my take on the story. Crazy vanity project. Let's see if it sells.
Yeah, this is. I hate to be a pessimist, but this is gonna sell for pennies on the dollar. And this is the saddest thing. I followed this story very closely because, like I said, producer Michael on YouTube is a huge luxury influencer on YouTube, and he actually produced a lot of the scores, the songs for a lot of rock bands back in the day and that kind of thing. So he made a lot of money off of royalties, right? And so now he's kind of like a big YouTuber and he buys the most crazy stuff. Now his taste is a little so-so, but his content is amazing. And he did this tour, and I'm assuming the only reason he did the tour is because the house was not selling. It wasn't selling, and so he was getting guided by the developer himself. And I thought that was strange. And then what I also thought was strange was some parts of the house were still under construction and would cost a little more to do. So I'm thinking, can this guy not? I feel like the bank isn't giving him money to finish this house. And you know what's even worse about this whole story? He said he had someone that he trusted who said they're going to buy the house this whole time, hadn't even put in a deposit. And they're like, don't worry, the 100 million's coming, the 100 million's coming, the 100 million. He's never met this person in real life.
No way. You are joking.
He's never met the person in real life. This is like an internet date scam with your whole life's work. And you know what he did? He developed homes in the $10 million range.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
And then would sell them, and then slightly bigger home, $30 million range. And then slightly bigger, $35 million. And he said, I'm taking all of it. I'm cashing out on a $500 million development. He does not know how to build a $500 million home. And the bank was stupid enough to give him the money. And then they said, yeah, we're done. We're not giving you the money. You have to give us more. You have to give us a buyer. So he's like, no, I'll just go to whoever can give me the money. And he dug himself into a grave publicly on the internet, and then further embarrassed himself when Michael was like, are you sure you want to trust this guy you've never met? He's like, yeah, they're good for it. They're good for it. Now it's on foreclosure. There you go. End of story.
Wow. That is just, and no, that's not good. That is not good. It's delusional because, and to me, this was why I said this was a vanity project, because the first rule of property development is you need to know who your buyer is. You need to know, okay, there are only two people in the world who can afford this. and you make sure you get something first. You don't just, I mean, one of the rooms is like a 10,000 bottle wine cellar. Yes, I know there are so many wine collectors out there, but 10,000 bottles, I mean, he just installed so many things into this home. It's not, I mean, I can't read all this and think of it as a home. I read of it and think of it, actually, he would have been better off converting it into a hotel.
Yeah.
Or a nightclub where a nightclub hotel, actually.
It should be a members club. That's what it should be.
Exactly. So you kind of like have a disco or a nightclub in it, and then you can stay overnight. You can maybe even put in a casino room or something. So there's a bit of gambling, so at least you're recouping your money somewhere.
And he did want to do that. He actually, he wanted to host like the fight between Mayweather and Logan Paul at the residence, if I remember correctly. He wanted to kind of exactly what you're saying, kind of make up for that money by hosting small sporting events or exhibitions or what have you. The whole thing. This is just the world's largest bachelor pad.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a fantasy. The kind of house he would have lived in if to live out his bachelor, like a Hugh Hefner kind of lifestyle thing. But unfortunately, there are very limited number of people who would actually invest all their money in this. So not good. This is not good.
Wiped out his net worth in one foul swoop. This is so sad. So on the internet, no less. Oh, my God. And the guy comes off very unpleasant. Let's just say that. That's the nice word.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So people don't like him to begin with, Hey, listen, I hope he recovers from this. And I know from this experience, it's only going to help his other developments be better if the bank will ever lend him money again. So, because when he goes back to $30 million homes, they'll be much better for sure.
Yeah, I think they will. I think if he can talk his way and if he can show, but you know what though, you never know. I'm going to be an optimist. You never know. He may pull this sale off. He may pull it off. You never know. He may get Floyd Mayweather to buy it. Who knows?
Yeah, Floyd can afford it, I think, actually. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? To be honest, yeah, you have to be a billionaire, a multi-billionaire to even entertain this home. So, yeah, it's tough. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll follow up when it finally goes to auction. Now, let's talk about the album everyone has been talking about. But before that, if you enjoy this episode, definitely follow us on Instagram. We post luxury stories almost every day and reels that'll inform you. And, of course, if you're listening on iTunes, give us a nice review. Help that algorithm help us, help everyone else, because there's no way we're going to get discovered if we're not getting good reviews. So, thank you for that. Let's get into this album. So, for people that don't know, the artist Gunna, he's a rapper. He debuted with the #1 album in the world recently. Okay? The album was called Drip Season 4. Gave it a listen. I like it. Now, if rap isn't your cup of tea, don't worry about it. But just so you have context, I think what made this album amazing is two things. One thing, he had an incredible marketing platform. Okay, so that's the first thing. Incredible marketing strategy, where he basically invented a slang term and got the entire world to use it without knowing what it means, and then only revealed what it means kind of down the road. So if you've been seeing a lot of P's, like the parking sign P emoji everywhere, it's because of Gunna. He kind of invented the term pushing P, which, I mean, to put it into understandable words, it's kind of like if something is positive, then it's P. If it's negative, then it's not P, if that makes sense. So that's #1. But the real reason that we're interested in this on Luxury News Weekly, the album artwork. The album artwork is done by one of my favorite artists, Daniel Arsham. And it is art gallery worthy, and we'll kind of go into it. But first of all, Elizabeth, what's your take about all this?
Well, like a number of people, I had never heard of this gentleman, Gunner, Mr. Gunner. However, looking at this particular cover, I love the artwork, actually. I am pleasantly surprised. It looks like a museum piece. I love the fact that it's just breathtakingly beautiful, because you've got the for lack of a better word, like a cement gray look? Yes, a cement gray look to it. But you've also got these geode crystal shards in very pale blue all over his face, all over his neck, etc. I think those shards are probably diamonds, because again, that's the rock of choice for many a gentleman rapper. But I absolutely love it. I love the concept. It's completely different to anything that is out there. I'd never heard of the artist before this particular story. Love the Cuban link with the rapper's name that hangs around his neck. And I love that his eyes are hidden by a pair of black rectangular sunglasses. It's clean, very contemporary, and very, very different. Really, really thoughtful, well thought out, just different. And I think this really raises the bar. If I were the artist, or if I were the gentleman rapper, this could easily sell. I could do a replica of a proper bust of him with the same paraphernalia. And I'll also do an NFT piece as well, because I think it is that iconic. Just love it. And the detailing, the snakes in the Cuban link chain, the way his name is written in graffiti around his neck. Absolutely love it. It's different and I love it.
It's very thoughtful. And what I like about Daniel Arsham, so he's kind of philosophy. I'm going to try and summarize it here as best I can. So what Daniel does is he tries to take just objects that we represent modern culture, if that makes sense, and then he tries to recreate them in these kind of fashions like you see of a decaying like a decaying statue or something like that. And it kind of represents an artifact. In a sense, it's like, well, what will the people of, 1,000 years from now, 5,000 years from now, think of our modern day objects, right?
Yeah.
Like what will last? He's done it. He's done an interesting collaboration with Pokemon before. He's done one with Porsche, and you're absolutely right. He should make a bust of this, because when in those cases, he actually makes the physical artwork, and you can actually go buy Daniel Arsham's works. He has some collectible items that you can purchase, right? So he's a commercial artist. And but this is exactly what you said. It is clean, it is thoughtful, and I think what it's really saying is Ghana is going to be solidified as a pillar of the modern day culture, and in the future, he's cementing it in time, if that makes sense. He's cementing this album in time, and for sure, it's number one. It's number one in the world. So, wow.
I think you should just be his PR person, because I love what you've said. It's so beautiful what you just said about him. And I tell you what, the more I look at the bust, it just reminds me of some of the art pieces that I saw in Florence once, right?
Yes.
When you talked about the decaying, chunks missing from the arm, chunks missing from the leg kind of thing. Maybe it's been caught up in a volcano. and it's covered in volcano ash. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking about when I see this piece. But I think it's fantastic. It really is. From an artistic point of view, as an artist myself, I think this is absolutely fantastic. And it's actually given me some ideas around my next cake, sort of like cement and very pale blue diamonds.
Yes, that would look beautiful.
I think that would look really, really beautiful, actually. I think, yeah, just giving me some ideas. And that bit of black on, so you don't even know what the eyes are thinking. Fantastic. Love it.
Absolutely wonderful. So yeah, check out Daniel Arsham, probably one of the most he's going to be one of the most influential artists of our time. I definitely will say that, and I'll leave it there. Now, let's talk about this outrageous kind of endeavor coming to us in 2027. The world's first space hotel, okay? You heard me right. The world's first, 280 guest space hotel, which is going to be a commercial space hotel. And it's essentially going to be, I think, in near orbit of the Earth. So you can stay in this thing, and it's like a normal hotel. I don't know what else to tell you. Now, from the mock-up of it, they seem to have gravity, so they can't be too far from the Earth. But I would say probably it's just like, in a close orbit to the Earth, and it'll cost you about $250,000 per person to go on this hotel, to visit this hotel. So definitely something for the wealthy clientele, if that makes sense. And there will be, like I mentioned before, 280 guests and 112 crew members in this hotel. Of course, people like Richard Branson and Elon Musk will definitely be visitors, as they love space. I just find this kind of, it's inevitable. Let's just put it that way. This space stuff is inevitable.
Now, this is interesting to me and very intriguing because it reminds me, and again, I'm probably showing my age again, it reminds me of a program called Space 1999. And it was, again, you've got a bunch of people in space orbiting, visiting different planets of, around the world, et cetera, et cetera. And for me, yes, we know that space tourism is coming. We know that people like Richard Branson and Elon Musk, this is where they are interested right now. And they have done a few investments in this area that have been a complete and total disaster in some cases and a bit triumphant in some cases. Will this happen in 2027? I honestly do not know. If it does, I'll be pleasantly surprised. Not so sure it really will, because people underestimate the issues, the problems around, being in space. For example, toilets not flushing. It's the little hygiene factors that actually affect space tourism. And it just amazes me. I mean, you're an engineer, right? And it amazes me that people don't give enough thought to these little issues, the engineering, the hygiene factors when it comes to space tourism. Also, they do not give thought to diseases. Yes, I said it, diseases. Even things like a common cold, things like COVID, etc. You need to give room and thought to things like that, because if you're up in space, yes, you have a crew, but personally, I would have a fully functioning hospital in space. I know it sounds extreme, I know it sounds dramatic. However, these are things you need to really, really think about. It's the little things, it's the little things. So I'm pretty sure they've thought of everything. Again, another thing they need to think about is food. Obviously, we're going to have freeze-dried food, freeze-dried ice cream, or space food. Again, am I going to pay $250,000 pounds just to have freeze-dried food. I might, if I'm interested in space and I want bragging rights to be one of the first to stay in the hotel. But I don't know, would I want, so again, and for that kind of client as well, I don't know. But if they pull it off, it'll be a feat for sure.
When we say space, we're not usually talking about outer space. We're in the Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere goes past the moon, and they're not going anywhere near the moon. So they're going to be pretty close to home, I'm assuming. Now, like you said, all kinds of logistics have to go into it. Yes, they have to have a fully functioning hospital. Why? Old people die on cruise ships all the time.
Exactly.
Right? And I assume if you're paying $250,000, you're not going to be young.
Well, the crypto bros, the NFT bros, they might be able to afford this.
The NFT bros lost half their net worth in a day this week. So I don't think that's not predictable. But, there are a lot of things. Of course, you can't go to space if you have certain health complications. It's a very selective group of individuals that are fit, healthy, and wealthy. That should be the tagline. Are you
fit, healthy, and wealthy?
Then come to space. I think we should work for them, to be honest. I think we should sell this, and they should give us, they don't need to give us a hotel room in the hotel. They should just give us money. But they should give us the $250,000. But yeah, there's so many logistics to this. I love how they're pushing it to 2027 as if we're going to have some major breakthrough by then. Like, nah. It's 2022, and we're pretty much where we were last year. So, we'll see. We'll see.
We are interrupting this episode to tell you a little bit about the people behind Luxury News Weekly. I'm your host, Simba Wakatama, the founder and CEO of Volo Bespoke. We personalize jewelry storage for the jewelry you wear. Find me on Instagram or LinkedIn at Simba Wakatama.
I'm Elizabeth Solaru, founder and CEO of Luxury Business Emporium and Elizabeth's Cake Emporium. You can find me on LinkedIn as Elizabeth Solaru or on Instagram as Luxury Business Emporium.
Now, speaking of NFT bros, hide your NFTs, hide your crypto. Nothing is safe. Okay, this is a warning. Some thieves stole NFTs worth multiple millions, okay? A whole NFT collection gone. A gallery owner got all his apes stolen and sold. He got hacked. Elizabeth, do you want to talk about this?
Well. I've been saying this for ages. This is interesting anyway, because when it comes to NFTs, this was bound to happen, just like you have any, we've reported on this show about thieves, stealing artwork, bottles of wine, whatever. Anything that becomes collectible is open to be stolen. So this guy, Todd Kramer, he's a gallery owner, and he was the victim of a phishing scam. And this phishing scam actually drained his wallet of 15 NFTs that was valued at $2.2 million, including 4 apes from the Bored Ape Yacht collection. The Bored Apes was one of the first NFTs of value. I believe people like Snoop Dogg, recently Gwyneth Paltrow, they are owners of Bored Apes. So this guy had 4 of them, and these 4 were stolen. Now, this was the thing about this being stolen, because it's digital. Within a matter of a few hours, the thief actually sold them off.
Yeah.
He actually sold off the pieces.
Clean crime.
Yeah, he literally just sold them off within a matter of hours. Now, was the internet sympathetic? Heck no, they were not sympathetic. They actually jeered at Kramer's bad luck. And they pointed out that, look, you guys wanted an unregulated, decentralized system, and this system cannot help you. If there was only some kind of regulating authority in place that could ensure your investments against theft and fraud. But unfortunately, because you guys want a decentralized and unregulated, these are the consequences. In the end, though, the authority did come through with the help of the buyers and the NFT platform OpenSea. Now, OpenSea is one of the large NFT platforms and anyone can join. It's a bit like joining Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You sign up for it, you join, and the moment you then create your NFT, you can put it on there and you do what you need to do, pay your gas fees, etc., etc. So anyway, OpenSea also went to task with a few of the buyers, and within 5 hours of his original post, all the apes were frozen, and he said, lessons learned, use a hard wallet. So again, if you buy digital art or if you create digital art, make sure you use a hard wallet. Some people even call it a cold wallet. Whatever it is, make sure you use it as a backup. And OpenSea themselves, them getting involved actually sparked controversy.
Oh, yeah. You're setting precedents for regulation.
Exactly. So people were saying, but why are you getting involved? Each person, you're meant to be autonomous, right? So
that's like the 15th time they've got involved or something. OpenSea, okay, a little bit of a tangent, but let's talk about it since we're here. OpenSea, we just spoke on the other episode about how they got involved with the Hermes situation. Right. The Hermes Birkin, Meta Birkin.
Yes.
They stopped that sale. They froze the account or what have you. They did what they needed to do.
Yes, they took those handbag NFTs down. Yes, they did.
Now, they could have left it to the courts. They could have. But they got involved in an unregulated, and I'm using air quotes because there's no video right now. Okay, so I have to mention it. The unregulated market. Who thought unregulated was a good idea, huh? Who? It's great for, okay, it is great. Don't get me wrong. There are so many benefits to crypto in general. Of course, you can lose your USB. How many stories have we heard of people that you lose their USB with $15 million on it, or they forget their password with $100 million? You know what I mean? These things happen, of course. But OpenSea in particular is problematic. And it's the NFT space that seems to be the most problematic. And it's only becoming worse and worse and worse. And only the more and more regulated platforms are performing better. So it kind of pushes it back into where we started.
Yes, but can I just say, though, that there's a distinction here, because OpenSea is a blockchain explorer. So for them, it's about providing the most comprehensive view into NFTs across different blockchains. So basically, they're saying, we are a massive supermarket for NFTs. However, they don't have the power to freeze or delist NFTs that are already, in those blockchains. But what they can do is disable the ability to use OpenSea to buy or sell stolen items. I think there's a slight distinction there. If the items are stolen, they can refuse to have any involvement in the buying and selling of them. But you're right, because it raises another problem. Unregulated market, it means you must not be prying into the background of any art if it's unregulated, right?
Yes.
So
you shouldn't.
So if it's a free-for-all, if it's an open, and like you said, open sea, it means anyone can sail in your sea, right? So if anyone can sail in any boat on your sea, you mustn't be inquiring as to the background of the boat, whether it's stolen or not stolen. Right?
It's an open sea.
It's open sea.
If the pirates get it, it's their boat now. I am the captain now.
Exactly. I'm the captain now. But the thing is, though, on a more serious note, though, what's happening is that these phishing scams, they have become more frequent because the moment they know that you've created NFTs of value or you've bought any art of value, is like there's a target on your back. So what you do is you get a hard wallet, also known as a cold wallet, which is physical. So it only connects to the internet when you're plugged in and engaged. So Kramer was using a hot wallet, which is continuously connected to the internet and thus more vulnerable. The last thing I'm going to say, again, using my scientific brain, putting that science part of my brain on, I know they go on and on and on about the blockchain being unhackable, etc. I don't think so. Anything is hackable. And all they have to do, they don't even have to hack it. All they have to do is look for the tiniest vulnerability and go in through there. Why do all that big work of hacking when a simple phishing email can unlock your NFTs?
Exactly. You don't have to hack the system. You just have to hack people, and it turns out we're easy to hack.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. My final take on the NFT thing is I love it, but it's stupid to call something an investment if it can't be insured. It's yeah, so I'll leave it at that. All right, now, our last story for today. This is a film collector's dream here. We have Michael Kane's private collection of memorabilia going on auction because he's downsizing his home and he kind of wants to get rid of some things. And he has quite an interesting collection of memorabilia from his movie career. Now, for those of you who might say, well, who is Michael Kane? Because a lot of the time, I don't recognize celebrities by name. I recognize them by face. Well, he's Alfred in The Dark Knight, and he's indistinguishable in Tenet. For those who've watched Tenet, you know what I mean. People cannot, listen, on this side of the world, no one can understand what this man is saying. But I don't know. I find him like a great actor. I love his work. But so he's got a couple of things on sale here. One of which I think of note is a Rolex. And let's get some information on this Rolex here. He has a very rare vintage Rolex here, and of course because it's an 18 karat gold reference 19018, so 19018, and it is a oyster quartz day date. Okay, so this is a beautiful, beautiful gold watch. It's collectible, of course. It will go up in value, of course. And it's going to fetch probably between $10,000 to $16,000. And this is Sir Michael Kane, by the way. He is knighted, all right? So that Rolex is going to be worth a lot. Now, Elizabeth, this is more down your alley, or this is in your pond, as we would say, because he is a British icon.
Absolutely. He's a national treasure, Sir Michael Kane. This is me trying to do my Cockney accent. My name is Michael Kane. I'm sorry.
That's why people don't understand what he's saying, because it doesn't sound like what you'd imagine British people sound like.
I know. The problem is people think we either sound like the Queen or we sound like a Cockney. But there are so many different regional accents in the UK. And Michael Kane he has an East End Cockney accent, but he's done phenomenally well for himself. Some of the films that I love that he's done, one of my favorites is The Cider House Rules. He was in Jaws, The Revenge. He was in Hannah and Her Sisters. He has won 2 Oscars. He's just an all-round nice guy. He's a lovely guy from what people say. I think he married a former Miss World or Universe or something. Again, she is absolutely gorgeous, still drop dead gorgeous till this day. And he's generally unproblematic. He's just a nice, decent person. So for people who are film buffs, he's actually got the original posters from Zulu. That was a really, really great film in its time. From Alfie, I think Alfie was the film that made him, and from Get Carter. And these posters are expected to sell for, a couple of thousand or something like that. But I think they'll definitely go for more. And again, he also has some proper art pieces, one by Marc Chagall. And then he is also selling. Now, this is this piqued my interest. It's not the most expensive item on the menu, but he's actually selling 2 pairs of his trademark glasses for, again, about £1,000. But I think those glasses can actually fetch a lot more. I'd be surprised if they didn't go for about 10 grand, to be honest with you. Because again, he is just, I think, a phenomenal person. The auction will happen at Bonham's in London on the 2nd of March. So anyone who is a fan of Michael Kane, get your money ready and contact Bonham's to be part of this auction.
This is like a yard sale from.
Yeah, he's downsizing, to be honest. Yeah.
I don't think he cares to make money off of this. He just wants the stuff out of his house.
Exactly. And you know what, though? If they can be enjoyed by people, why not? He's an Oscar winner.
Oh, yeah.
He's won Oscars 2 times. And I think, personally, they could, if I were the British Museum, or if I were BAFTA, which is the British Academy Film and Television Awards, if there's a museum, I would definitely buy these pieces because he's a national treasure. So I think they should definitely be bought by a museum and be preserved and kept.
Oh, yeah. And those glasses are groovy. I am feeling them. I would wear those. Yes. And he has fans, both young and old. I think this will be a surprisingly good auction. And I reckon he's going to fetch more than they expect.
Yes, I think they're being very conservative with their estimates. And I think obviously there's going to be a reserve because you're going to have Anglophiles from all around the world. And I believe he probably has a massive following in America. I think they would easily spend great money. And even from the Middle East and even from China. You never know.
I mean, he's probably most famous to my generation for the Dark Knight trilogy, which is, to say it's a cult classic is such an understatement, right? And he was a pivotal role in that movie, which kind of elevated the culture of superhero movies. So, yeah, I think this will go well.
We love you, Sir Michael Kane.
We really do. Now, if you've enjoyed this episode, again, follow us on Instagram, leave a good review, help us out, and tune in every single week. We are here, Luxury News Weekly, your number one source for luxury news. Have a great day.